Long division. Long division is a written method of dividing a large number, usually by another large number, and it involves basic math operations. By the way, do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel and activate the bell. It's very important for the continuity of this channel. Let us start with a very simple example. If you pack 28 apples into boxes, each with 7 apples, how many boxes will there be? We can visualize the packing process laying out the 28 apples successively in rows of 7, as in the diagrams below. The 4 rows use up all 28 apples, so there will be 4 full boxes with no apples left over. The result is written in mathematical symbols of different ways as follows. In the standard form, we read as 28 divided by 7 is 4. 28 is the dividend, 7 is the divisor, 4 is the quotient. In the fraction form, we read as 28 divided by 7 is 4. In the long division form, we read as 7 divided into 28 is 4. In the long division form, we write the dividend on the right under a division symbol and put the divisor on the left. The quotient is written above the over bar on top of the dividend. As we can see, 7 divides evenly into 28 4 times. Unfortunately, not every division problem can be done so quickly. For example, it's true that 3 divides evenly into 423. But how many times? To discover the answer, we will need to learn a process called the division algorithm. An algorithm is a set of repeated rules that leads to a desired result. The long division algorithm. There is only one division algorithm, despite its different appearances. In order to show all the steps of the algorithm, I will teach the long division algorithm. Long division involves 5 steps. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat. Let's see some examples. Divide 75 by 3 using the long division. The first thing we do is change the way the problem is written. We divide tens and ones separately. Remember that 75 is the same as 7 tens plus 5 ones. The first math step is to look at the first number we are dividing into, 7 in this example. This is the division step. Dividing 7 tens by 3, we get 2 tens and some extra. So we put that 2 tens right above the 7 tens. Here's the second step. This is the multiplication step. Multiply the quotient and the divisor. Place this product directly under the digits used in this division. Multiply the 3 and the 2 and put the answer right under the 7. 3 times 2 tens equals 6 tens. Here's the third step. This is the subtraction step. Write a subtraction sign next to the 6. Subtract 6 tens from 7 tens. Write your answer directly below the 6. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 5 down next to the 1. We repeat the division process over using the 15 as the dividend. Start again at step 1. Dividing 15 ones by 3, we get 5 ones and nothing is left over. We put that 5 ones right above the 5 ones. Multiply the 5 3 and put the answer right under the 15. Write a subtraction sign next to the 15. Subtract 15 ones from 15 ones. Write your answer directly below the 15. Since there are numbers to bring down, we do not repeat the steps of division. The answer is 25. Divide 948 by 4 using the long division. First of all, we write in the long division form. 948 is the same as 900 plus 4 tens plus 8 ones. So we divide hundreds, tens, and ones separately. We start with the first step. The first number that we are dividing into is the 9. Dividing 900 by 4, we get 200s and some extra. So we put that 200s right above the 900s. The second step is the multiplication step. Multiply the 4 and the 2 and put the answer right under the 9. 4 times 200 equals 800. The step is the subtraction step. We write a subtraction sign next to the 8. Subtract 800 from 900. Write your answer directly below the 8. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 4 down next to the 1. We repeat the division process over using the 14 as the dividend. We start again at step 1. 140 is the same as 100 plus 4 tenths, and 100 plus 4 tenths is the same as 10 tenths plus 4 tenths. And 10 tenths plus 4 tenths equals 14 tenths. Dividing 14 tenths by 4, we get 3 tenths and some extra. We put that 3 tenths right above the 4 tenths. Multiply the 3 and the 4 and put the answer right under the 14. Write a subtraction sign next to the 12. Subtract 12 tenths from 14 tenths. Write your answer directly below the 12. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 8 down next to the 2. We repeat the division process over using the 28 as the dividend. We start again at step 1. 28 is the same as 2 tenths plus 8 ones. And 2 tenths plus 8 ones is the same as 20 ones plus 8 ones. And 20 ones plus 8 ones equals 28 ones. Dividing 28 ones by 4, we get 7 ones and nothing is left over. We put that 7 ones right above the 8 ones. Multiply the 4 and the 7 and put the answer right under the 28. Write a subtraction sign next to the 28. Subtract 28 ones from 28 ones. Write your answer directly below the 28. Since there are no more numbers to bring down, we do not repeat the steps of the answer is 237. Divide 72 by 9. We change the way the problem is written. We divide tens and ones separately. Remember that 72 is the same as 7 tens plus 2 ones. The first number we are dividing into is the 7. Dividing 7 tens by 9, we get no tens because 7 tens divided by 9 is less than 10. It means that 9 does not go into 7 of the tens. So the quotient will not have any tens, and we put 0 in the quotient in the tens place. Multiply the 9 and the 0 and put the answer right under the 7. 9 times 0 tens equals 0 tens. Write a subtraction sign next to the 0. Subtract 0 tens from 7 tens. Write your answer directly below the 0. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 2 down next to the 7. We repeat the division process over using the 72 as the dividend. Start again at step 1. 72 is the same as 7 tens plus 2 ones, and 7 tens plus 2 ones is the same as 70 ones plus 2 ones. And 70 ones plus 2 ones equals 72 ones. Dividing 72 ones by 9, we get 8 ones, and nothing is left over. We put that 8 ones right above the 2 ones. Multiply the 9 and the 8 and put the answer right under the 72. Write a subtraction sign next to the 72. Subtract 72 ones from 72 ones. Write your answer directly below the 72. Since there are no more numbers to bring down, we do not repeat the steps of division. Divide 259 by 7 using the long division. We write in the long division form. 259 is the same as 200s plus 5 tens plus 9 ones. So we divide hundreds, tens, and ones separately. The first number that we are dividing into is the 2. Dividing 200s by 7, we get no hundreds because 200s divided by 7 is less than 100. It means that 7 does not go into 2 of the hundreds. So the quotient will not have any hundreds, and we put 0 in the quotient in the hundreds place. We now multiply the 7 and the 0 and put the answer right under the 2. We write a subtraction sign next to the 0. Subtract 0 hundreds from 200 hundreds. Write your answer directly below the 0. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 5 down next to the 2. We repeat the division process over using the 25 as the dividend. We start again at the step 1. 240 is the same as 200s plus 5 tens, and 200s plus 5 tens is the same as 20 tens plus 5 tens, and 20 tens plus 5 tens equals 25 tens. Dividing 25 tens by 7, we get 3 tens and some extra. We put that 3 tens right above the 5 tens. Multiply the 7 and this 3 and put the answer right under the 25. Write a subtraction sign next to the 21. Subtract 21 tens from 25 tens. Write your answer directly below the 21. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 9 down next to the 4. We repeat the division process over using the 40 as the dividend. We start again at step 1. 49 is the same as 4 tens plus 9 ones, And 4 tens plus 9 ones is the same as 40 ones plus 9 ones. And 40 ones plus 9 ones equals 49 ones. Dividing 49 ones by 7, we get 7 ones and nothing is left over. We put that 7 ones right above the 9 ones. Multiply the 7 and the 7 and put the answer right under the 49. Subtract 49 ones from 49 ones. Since there are no more numbers to bring down, we do not repeat the steps of division. The answer is 37. Divide 327 by 3. We write in the long division form. 327 is the same as 300 plus 2 tens plus 7 ones. So we divide hundreds, tens, and ones separately. The first number that we are dividing into is the 3. Dividing 300 by 3, we get 100, and nothing is left over. We put that 100 right above the 300s. We now multiply the 3 1 and put the answer right under the 3. We write a subtraction sign next to the 3. Subtract 300 from 300s. Write your answer directly below the 3. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 2 down next to the 0. We repeat the division process over using the 2 as the dividend. We start again at step 1. Dividing 2 tens by 3, we get no tens. 2 tens divided by 3 is less than 10. It means that 3 does not go into 2 of the tens. So the quotient will not have any tens, and we put 0 in the quotient in the tens place. We now multiply the 3 and the 0 and put the answer right under the 2. We write a subtraction sign next to the 0. 2 tens minus 0 tens is 2 tens. Write your answer directly below the 0. Bring out the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 7 down next to the 2. We repeat the division process over using the 27 as the dividend. We start again at step 1. 27 is the same as 2 tens plus, and 2 tens plus 7 ones is the same as 27 ones. Dividing 27 ones by 3, we get 9 ones and nothing is left over. We put that 9 ones right above the 7 ones. Since there are no more numbers to bring down, we do not repeat the steps of Divide 16,072 by 8. We write in the long division form. 16,072 is the same as 10,000s plus 6,000s plus 0 hundreds plus 7 tens plus 2 ones. So we divided 10,000s, thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones separately. The first number that we are dividing into is the 1. Dividing 10,000 by 8, we get no 10,000s because 10,000 divided by 8 is less than 10,000s. It means that 8 does not go into 10 of the 10,000s. So the quotient will not have any 10,000s, and we put 0 in the quotient in the 10,000s place. We now multiply the 8 and the 0 and put the answer right under the 1. Subtract 0 10,000s from 10,000. Write your answer directly below the 0. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 6 down next to the 1. We repeat the division process over using the 16 as the dividend. Dividing 16 thousandths by 8, we get 2,000 and nothing is left over. We put that 2 thousandths right above the 6 thousandths. We now multiply the 8 and the 2 and put the answer right under the 16. We write a subtraction sign next to the 16. 16,000 minus 16,000 is 0,000. Write your answer directly below the 16. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 0 down next to the 0. We repeat the division process over using the 0 as the dividend. Dividing 0 hundredths by 8, we get 0 hundredths. We put that 0 hundredths right above the 0 hundredths. We now multiply the 8 and the 0 and put the answer right under the 0. We write a subtraction sign next to the 0. 0 hundredths minus 0 hundredths is 0 hundredths. Write your answer directly below the 0. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 7 down next to the 0. We repeat the division process over using the 7 as the dividend. Dividing 7 tenths by 8, we get no tenths because 7 tenths divided by 8 is less than 10. It means that 8 does not go into 7 of the tenths. So the quotient will not have any tenths, and we put 0 in the quotient in the tenths place. We now multiply the 8 and the 0 and put the answer right under the 7. Subtract 0 tenths from 7 tenths. Write your answer directly below the 7. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 2 down next to the 7. We repeat the division process over using the 72 as the dividend. 72 is the same as 7 tenths plus 2 ones, and 7 tenths plus 2 ones is the same as 70 ones plus 2 ones. And 70 ones plus 2 ones equals 72 ones. Dividing 72 ones by 8, we get 9 ones and nothing is left over. We put that 9 ones right above the 2 ones. We multiply the 8 and the 9 and put the answer right under the 72. Subtract the 72 ones from 72 ones. Since there are no more numbers to bring down, we do not repeat the steps of division. The answer is 2009. So far, you learned how to do long division when dividing by a one-digit number. We use the same division steps when the number we divide by has multiple digits. Let's see how the long division works to divide a 4-digit number by a 2-digit number. Now we'll become familiar with the long division, we can go faster. Divide 5,568 by 16. 5,568 is the same as 5 thousandths plus 5 hundredths plus 6 tenths plus 8 ones. So we divide thousandths, hundredths, tenths, and ones separately. Dividing 5,000 by 16, we get no thousandths because 5,000 divided by 16 is less than 1,000. It means that 16 does not go into 5 of the thousandths. They will not have any thousandths. So we put 0 in the quotient in the thousandths place. 16 times 0 is 0. Subtract 0 thousandths from 5 thousandths. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 5 down next to the 5. 5,500 is the same as 50 hundredths plus 5 hundredths, and 50 hundredths plus 5 hundredths equals 55 hundredths. We now repeat the division process over using the 55 as the dividend. Dividing 55 hundredths by 16, we get 3 hundredths and some extra. So we put 3 in the quotient in the hundredths place. 16 times 3 equals 48. Subtract 48 from 55. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 6 down next to the 7. 7 hundredths plus 6 tenths equals 76 tenths. We repeat the division process over using the 76 as the dividend. Dividing 76 tenths by 16, we get 4 tenths and some extra. So we put 4 tenths in the quotient in the tenths place. 16 times 4 equals 64. Subtract 64 from 76. Bring down the next digit of the dividend. Bring the 8 down next to the 12. 100 plus 2 tenths plus 8 ones equals 128 ones. We repeat the division process over using the 128 ones as the dividend. Divide 128 ones by 16, we get 8 ones and nothing is left over. So we put 8 ones in the quotient in the ones place. Since there are no more numbers to bring down, we do not repeat the steps of division. The answer is 348. When we are given a long division to do, it will not always work out to a whole number. Sometimes there are numbers left over. These are called remainders. Let's see how it works. 247 divided by 4. 4 does not go into 2, or in other words, 200 divided by 4 is less than 100. So we put 0 in the quotient in the hundreds place. Multiply 4 in the 0, then subtract 0 from 2 and bring 4 down. We combine the 200s with the 4 tenths. 200s plus 4 tenths equals 24 tenths. 4 goes into 24. 24 divided by 4 equals 6. We put 6 in tenths place. Multiply 4 and 6, then subtract 24 from 24 and bring 7 down. 7 ones divided by 4 equals 1 ones and some extra. We put the 1 in quotient in the ones place. Multiply 4 and the 1, then subtract 4 from 7. But there are no more numbers to bring down. There is still 3 left over. This leftover part is called the remainder. We know that we are finished dividing because the last digit in the dividend is covered by the quotient. So 247 divided by 4 equals 61 with a remainder of 3. Let's see another example. 38 does not go into 1. Or in other words, 1000 divided by 38 is less than 1000. So we put 0 in the quotient in the thousands place. Multiply 38 and the 0. Then subtract the 0 from 1 and bring 1 down. We combine the 1000s with 100s. 1000s plus 100s equals 1100s. 38 does not go into 11. 1100s divided by 38 is less than 100. So we put 0 in the quotient in the hundreds place. Multiply 38 and 0. Then subtract 0 from 11 and bring 6 down. 116 tenths divided by 38 equals 3 tenths and some extra. We put the 3 in quotient in the tens place. Multiply 38 and the 3, then subtract 114 from 116 and bring 7 down. 38 does not go into 27. So we put 0 in the ones place. There are no more numbers to bring down. We know that we are finished dividing because the last digit in the dividend is covered by the quotient. So 1167 divided by 38 equals 30 with a remainder of 27. When we are given a long division with a remainder, we can use the long division process to work out the answer to a number of decimal places. Let's see how it works. "25 does not go into 4, so we put 0 in the quotient in the hundreds place. Multiply 25 and the 0, then subtract 0 from 4 and bring 3 down. 25 goes into 43. 43 divided by 25 equals 1 and some extra. We put 1 in the quotient in the tens place. Multiply 25 and 1, then subtract 25 from 43 and bring 5 down. 185 ones divided by 25 equals 7 ones and some extra. We put the 7 in quotient in the ones place. Multiply 25 and the 7, then subtract 175 from 185. Now we have reached the end of the whole numbers. We add a decimal place in the dividend and place a decimal point in the quotient directly above where the decimal point now appears in the dividend. We add the first 0 as well. We now can bring down the next number of the dividend. Bring 0 down. 25 goes into 100. 100 divided by 25 equals 4. We put 4 in the quotient right above the 0. Multiply 25 and 4 and subtract. The subtraction has given 0. We stop when this happens. The answer is 17.4. Dividing decimals is similar to dividing whole numbers, except you have to handle the decimal point before you start dividing. Here is how to divide decimals, step by step. Turn 0.8 into the whole number 8 by multiplying by 10 the dividend and the divisor. Put the decimal point in the quotient directly above where it is in the dividend. Now we are ready to divide. 8 goes into 9. 9 divided by 8 equals 1, and some extra. So we put 1 in the quotient right above the 9. Multiply 8 and the 1, then subtract 8 from 9 and bring 1 down. 8 goes into 11. 11 divided by 8 equals 1, and some extra. We put 1 in the quotient right above the 1. Multiply 8 and 1, then subtract 8 from 11 and bring 5 down. 8 goes into 35. 35 divided by 8 equals 4, and some extra. We put the 4 in quotient right above the 5. Multiply 8 and the 4, then subtract 32 from 35 and bring 2 down. 8 goes into 32. 32 divided by 8 equals 4, and nothing is left over. Multiply 8 and 4 and subtract. The subtraction has given 0. The answer is 11.44.